she's back with her sophomore album. Um, I mean, what
Happier
a
than ever.
yeah, happier than ever. Sorry, and just thinking about where, like, what she accomplished in her first album. Right, she won multiple Grammys off that, including album of the year, I believe.
She
Uh,
swept the big five. She won five, the five top awards. Yes.
yeah, when we all fall asleep, where do we go from 2019, which we reviewed? Check that out, Nostalgia Pod on YouTube. Um, what were your expectations going into this? I guess
That's a great question because Billy's been very omnipresent ever since
Mhm.
then. Let's not forget that the following Grammys, the Grammys that just happened in 2021, Billy won Record of the Year again
Yeah,
for Everything I Wanted, a loose song, a big surprise to her and Phineas on the broadcast, big surprise to me and you because it was not a song that I'll speak for me, not a song I liked all that much,
I didn't listen
and
to it much.
yeah, and that's the thing is since her landmark breakthrough album, you had a few loose tracks. You had My Future, which is back on this album. You had Everything I Wanted, which wins the Grammy but isn't on this. You had the James Bond song, No Time
Writing
to
on the
Die,
wall.
which already won a Grammy, even though No Time to Die, the movie, isn't even out yet. All three of those songs have a key thing in common. They are they are soft. They are low tempo. They are quiet. They are
Yeah.
different at the very least from what she blew up from.
Mhm.
And then we got that single, "Therefore I Am," which got that the video in the mall, and that is much more
That's
reminiscent
fun.
of like Bad Guy production. I think that's one of her
Yep.
best tracks. So I didn't really know what to expect, and unfortunately, to me, it's a lot lighter than I wanted. But
Yeah.
it also makes a lot of sense, right? Like this is still completely written and produced solely by Billy and Phineas, still a family affair, and Billy is very open and honest about her experience since the last album. So it kind of makes sense that this is what we got because she's doing a really good job handling mega fame and how
Mhm.
that's completely changed her life. And that comes out and fits and starts throughout the lyrics across the album. But there's just some decisions on the album that I just don't like as much. That it's like, well, I understand why we're here, but like My Strange Addiction is just way more fun to listen to off the last album. And like I
Mhm.
like Therefore I Am. That's the bad guy this time around, but like there's no Office sample. Like there's nothing like except for one key exception. There's not a lot of like out there production choices or vocal ticks, and I even think the vocal mix at times is like intentionally like turned down. Like it's like really like soft, like low volume vocals at times, and
Mhm.
it's like dreamy. I guess you want to be charitable, but
Yeah,
like
like woozy. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. So it's definitely a change, right? You know what it is? It's like she made an album of Ocean Eyes, and
Mhm.
Ocean Eyes, that was the big hit on SoundCloud when she was 14. People love that song, but I don't know if I need 15 of them.
You know, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's definitely a low tempo, like electric pop type sound. I do think there's some fun production choices. A song like Oxytocin
That's the one.
really stands out. Yeah, where it's like this, like, I don't even know, how would you describe the way that it comes in and out. It's like a electronic, like, cutting out almost every
Yeah.
other second.
It's like that's production you would hear at a trance show in
Yes.
Europe. That is
Yeah.
immediately where I was taken.
It.
And that kind of production, also how Billy rides that with her
Yes.
her performance, very reminiscent of the last album. And that's exciting. That's the cool shit that like I want from Billy and Phineas. And I understand maybe she doesn't want to they want to do that all the time. That's cool. But like that's what like really like wows me when they do stuff like that song.
Yeah, I that track immediately I put on repeat because I just thought that was such cool production. When it cuts out around the chorus and she like sings in a really high key, it just like adds such a, it sounds like almost like primal in a sense, which is just so cool. And the way the drums are with it is just perfect. Um Yeah, and therefore I am is really fun and boppy, and that kind of actually reminds me of the second track. I didn't change my number. That also stood out to me as being pretty fun. That starts off like a snarl in a sense, but then it has that like cool, almost just kind of like toned back, like soft R&B ish to it, which you just kind of like bounce to it, which is really fun. And then probably the track that grabbed me the most is the title track. It's the second to last one on the album, and it's really soft. And I was kind of just like toning out. And then there's that part where like the guitars and the drums just come in overly distorted and just really strong, and her voice like goes up a power, and it just like I found that totally gripping, and I thought that was great. And you like you said, you pair that with I think some really introspective lyrics, some commentary on the commodization and sexualization
Mm,
of female pop stars throughout this. There's a track named "Not My Responsibility," which is pretty clear what is that's getting
yeah,
at the idea that it's not up to her to change who she is for you. And I think she just is a singular talent, because I
right.
also found most of the toned down tracks pretty fun, or at least enjoyable to listen to, which I gotta say, like after listening to someone like Clara last week, which Clara was fine and she does a lot of toned down stuff too, I find this a lot more memorable, and you just see that that Billy is just operating at such a higher level than almost anyone else who
Yeah.
does this.
Yeah, in
So
terms of like the lighter stuff, I liked NDA a lot, which was one of the
mhm.
singles. Um, I think Lost Cause, which I believe has the video, that one's pretty fun as well. Um,
Yeah, I like Lost Cause a lot.
yeah, I actually production wise, I got to note the kick drum transition from NDA into Therefore I Am was quite seamless and sounded
Hmm.
really good. The Not My Responsibility track, that was actually those vocals were part of that video she like played at some her shows. So that actually had already been heard, but she actually only did that I think 3 times before that tour stopped due to COVID. So we'd actually
Mhm.
heard that in a greater part. The thing is, it's like that, like the message, like it's like a really like frank interlude, right? But like obviously, I'd love if that was somehow into like a song people would hear more than once, versus just kind
Yeah,
of being this like straightforward speech. But
right.
either way, I think it is nice to hear because that has been a big part of her celebrity of late, unfortunately.
Mhm. Just want to note, because we didn't say it, she's 19.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy to be dropping albums this strong and coherent and thoughtful at 19. So,
yeah,
gonna be talking about Billy a lot. So,
yeah. And she just had that Apple documentary come out
yeah,
earlier in the year. Um, yeah, very interesting, right? Like, and we talked about this with the last time, but it's like her whole rise to the industry and the connections she didn't have, and everything about it, right? Like this documentary, like they were kind of filming everything the whole time. It's like they kind of knew, and
yeah.
something I actually just learned is like I knew her parents were actors, but I didn't know that her mom was actually the voice of a famous character in the Mass Effect video games, which I love. And I was like, oh, that's so funny that that voice actor's kid is fucking Billie Eilish.
That
Just
that's crazy.
just random, just random. Uh, yeah, so I think there's definitely stuff to like. Um, it's definitely a start to change, but there's still a lot to appreciate, and that just kind of speaks to what Billy and Phineas can do. You know, imagine what they would do when they actually work with anyone else. Like, imagine if Jack Antonoff got his hands on Billie Eilish. He would love to work with her as the probably the biggest pop artist he hasn't, female pop artist he hasn't yet worked with. Of late.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that would be really cool. I mean, of course, I'd love to see like a Lord Billie Eilish like collab of some sort. They
Yeah.
just feel like kindred souls in a way to me. So maybe we'll see that. But
One last thing I think we should know,
yeah,
given what we've just been talking about, Billy got in some controversy when like an old clip surfaced of her lip syncing to Asian slur. I believe it was an Odd Future song, and she quickly apologized and was very remorseful about that, even though she was quite young when the clip was from. A stark change from how DaBaby acted the past week. Just thing to keep in mind.